What you're seeing on screen is an entire brand that I made only using Google's new Nano Banana AI tool. No Photoshop, no drawing tablet, nothing. This is all made just with AI. And the craziest thing is that instead of this process taking days or even a week, I got this done in just a few hours. So today, I'll show you how I was able to come up with and design an entire brand with Google's Nano Banana and a tiny bit of help from a few other tools. So first things first, before I could actually design anything, I had to come up with a product I was going to actually use. And I had an idea. I wanted to create a brand for a totally imaginary company, and what I came up with in my head was a high-end microphone brand. So I'm a voice actor, and I thought, what's a product I would actually want? Professional studio mics sound incredible, but they're too sensitive and pick everything up. I used to get voiceover requests while commuting on the bus for 2 hours, and I'd always think, man, I wish I had a portable mic with studio quality and smart noise canceling. And these tiny clip-on mics everyone's releasing now are close, but they're not quite studio quality. Until now. So that became my fictional product, a high-end portable microphone that actually solves this problem. So I fed all of this into Gemini and asked it to generate a design brief. So in a matter of seconds, Gemini spit out this comprehensive design brief. You got your mission, your vision, tagline. It gave me a couple of interesting names, but they didn't quite click at first. So we actually went back and forth a bit more. I wanted fancy, but it wasn't giving me fancy at first. Eventually, we ended up with Everett Acoustics, which according to Gemini sounds distinguished and timeless. And for the microphone, we picked Voyager. So it's the Everett Voyager. So when it gave me those names, I actually asked it to recreate the design brief, because sometimes the name just gives you a sense of direction. And goodness, that tagline, record your world, create studio quality recordings without a studio. As the target audience for this product, I really resonated with that. When I saw the key selling points were like, finally, a studio in your pocket. It also gave me this top-level strategy for marketing the product, and I was like, yeah, that's gonna work. Since the whole brief already looked like copy directed towards me, I wanted to see what I was feeling with the mood board. And I found it was kind of weird because I already selected Nano Banana at the bottom, and I was assuming that it was generating images. I actually expected it to generate just images, but I don't recall Gemini ever spitting out text with images in the middle. And when I saw it, I was like, yep, that's definitely a microphone that I'd buy. Image wasn't perfect, of course. It had typos like Everett with 2 R's and acoustics. No, honestly, I was expecting that it would flop the first time around. And while it wasn't final, it was like 90% of the way there on my first pass. There were times it actually got worse, and I felt like it became more unoriginal. Thing though, output-wise, it was just one image at a time with some text around it. So I asked Gemini itself, how many images are usually in a mood board? And it admitted to me that it would be 10 to 20 images. In that case, please make 20 images for the mood board. What I was really amazed with was how the same microphone design appeared throughout the mood board. So you see the knob at the center of the mic, there's a green dot on top of it and a green dot below it. And you also see that detail in one of the other images. In another one, I wasn't so sure, but that same one showed up again, and at the end it was different. Maybe a different color variation? And yeah, didn't give me the full 20 images. It gave me 10 images, that's fair. So from those 10 images, I asked it to summarize the mood board and really just give me an overview of how this brand is supposed to visually feel. This one actually took a little longer to create, and I am amazed because as far as I know with ChatGPT, you don't get this level of consistency with images. Again, there you go, you got the knob with 2 dots. I'm assuming this is the typography and this is the logo. But yeah, I wasn't quite convinced at how it looked at the mood board phase. I really didn't feel like prompting a whole lot, so I just asked it to give me some more logo options. We had to go back and forth a bit more. I had some ideas myself. I felt a bit more useful because Gemini was doing pretty much everything for me, but it was reaching a dead end. I was actually really blown away by the results after we went back and forth a bit more. Here it didn't just make logos for me, but it made really well thought out ideas with clear, well-balanced exact explanations for each one. Except, I think, logo number 6? It wasn't perfect. Now, for another set of logos, it was taking a bit long. By the time I got to this set of logos, it felt like I was going around in circles. So again, with a bit more guidance, we ended up with this batch. I really like this one because it's like an E with an A as well. And this is kind of like symbolic of having a microphone inside a tiny studio. But ultimately, we just went with this one. It's supposed to be a transparent PNG, but I don't think it's actually transparent. But yeah, clearly the typography isn't quite there yet, so I asked it to work on that. So what I really liked about this workflow with Nano Banana is that it's actually spitting out the text again with the images. As long as I'm creating visuals and I just set Nano Banana, it will spit out both text and images. Now this one confused me. When I saw Laura Acoustics, I was like, who's Laura? Are these business cards? It's not the name of the font. Anyway, I wanted to see if Gemini had memory. This was already several prompts in, and honestly, I was really disappointed here. We just finalized the logo, and when it made these posters, here's a different one. This cut through the noise poster, pretty interesting. They cut through their logo. And this is a pretty legit poster that if I see it on my social feeds, I might click it as an ad. The Everett Voyager, your studio, anywhere. What I did not appreciate is that these 4 posters are stuck together. So I actually asked Gemini to give me a clean, downloadable version of the poster that I liked. And again, gave me a completely different one. This is Nano Banana, guys. So much for consistency. The general vibe is there, though. Now, consistency aside, I figured at this point that Gemini had a pretty good idea of what this brand was. So I moved on to product packaging. Now, this whole time it kept showing me photos of these condenser-style microphones, but I wasn't convinced that this is what the final product would look like. Close maybe, but I wasn't too sure. Now, this part really got me excited because I finally get to design my dream mic. This one's looking really good. It even includes a Type-C cable and a Type-C wireless adapter. This technology actually exists. I can kind of imagine myself connecting this to a phone. This was a design that I liked much more. You can see just how sleek it is. You can see that it's right in the middle of being sleek enough to hold as a handheld microphone, but it also looks somewhat robust enough that it can be a studio mic. Well, again, I asked Nano Banana to give me 3 images. It just gave me 1. The understated colors are actually really helpful. You won't grab as much attention in public using this. Now, this one was pretty good. I really love the blue color. Didn't dig the microphone though, but I did like the previous mic, so I asked Nano Banana to combine them. So I also asked it to add the logo to the microphone, and I think it forgot to do that. But for our purposes, I do think that's still some great looking packaging. Now, I really wanted this product to come to life. So I asked Nano Banana to create photorealistic images of people using the microphone on a bus. I'd say this was pretty close to what I was imagining. Again, the microphone looks different. I wouldn't bring out a tablet like this in public to record, so I tried to help it out by saying, hey, this is the microphone you generated, use that as a reference. I also mentioned to use a smartphone instead of a tablet, and it still generated practically the same image. But again, the idea is there. Now at this point, I think Gemini already had a pretty good idea of what I wanted the brand to be visually, but it just didn't meet the level of consistency that I needed. If it can't even recreate the logo consistently, yeah, that's going to be a problem. So for the next thing that I wanted to try out, which is brand infographics, I decided to help Nano Banana out with another tool called Piktochart. It's a tool that you can use to create visuals for pretty much any use case. And they also got this AI-powered visual generator. So I asked Gemini to create a brand summary, pasted it into Piktochart, and I selected Generate. So I asked Pictochart to create a brochure for Everett Acoustics, the brand we just created. What it's doing is it's generating content to apply across this library of Pictochart templates. It doesn't have all the brand information from Gemini, but this is already starting to look pretty good. I mean, look at this. This is a microphone. See, it mentions all those features, portable design, and you see a portable mic. You see adaptive noise canceling, and it talks about it, premium aesthetics, and this kind of implies premium aesthetics. I see a fictional microphone over here. Oh, and by the way, we can select the images, select Replace with AI, and we can use ChatGPT or Imagen 4. And all I did here was say, turn this into a luxurious portable microphone. And as we can see, this is quite literally a luxurious portable microphone. And now we just added it here. Again, this is a little different from the brand that we had in mind at first, but I just wanted to show how you can actually replace and create images within Piktochart. So I switched templates and I actually found this one more appealing. Now, once you've done the initial AI editing, you can actually save and edit the brochure. And what we can actually do here is upload the images we generated from Nano Banana. So as soon as I uploaded my images from Nano Banana, I just dragged this image and we got the image that we want. And we also moved the microphone over here. But of course, the microphone is the star of the show, so we want it visible, like right here. And what I found was useful about having these images on Piktochart is that I could actually use all these useful tools like an image modifier, image restorer, object eraser, and of course I uploaded the proper logo. That looked much better. On Piktochart, it was just a matter of selecting the proper brand colors. So all I did was select this and pick up this color and pick that color. And just like that, this is already looking pretty good. Now, there was something else I wanted to see Nano Banana do, and that's make a full ad creative. And to make things easier, I asked Gemini to make the prompt for me. Wow! Like, this is a really interesting ad creative. Again, it doesn't have the typography, the fonts, the logo, but the overall vibe is kind of there. So Gemini was, I don't know, it felt like Gemini was getting tired at this point. I mean, look at this. That might be the same face, but I don't know why you'd cut it in this way. I think the idea is that it's the same person using the same mic in different places. The concept is pretty good. The execution is almost there. I guess we can still have jobs in the advertising industry. Now, at this point, I kept prompting and prompting, but just kept getting the same or similar results. And sometimes Gemini would even say that, all right, let's refine this to a more elegant and integrated before and after effect without cutting the subject or product. And it still did it. I don't know why. Overall, I think Nano Banana did a pretty good job. It had some really interesting ideas, but it just wasn't executing them consistently enough. Like, AI is supposed to be really smart at this point, but it can't even grab an existing image and just, modify that. It seems to have to generate everything from scratch every single time, so you're not actually building a lot of progress. And sometimes Gemini hallucinates and thinks that it's doing what it's supposed to be doing, but ends up not doing it, which again is great for us humans. I personally really liked how the microphones turned out. The logos were actually also pretty creative, but it seemed to me like as soon as I had it change priorities, like go from logo making to typography, that's when it would forget about the last thing we discussed. Still, I do think it's a great brainstorming partner, so I thought that product was a pretty good idea, but let's say you had an amazing idea for your brand or a company in general, and you mocked up all the designs with AI, everything, but you needed to get some investors, and you didn't know where to start with your presentation or pitch deck. Well, we have you covered in the next video where we go over exactly how you can use ChatGPT's 4.0 model to make McKinsey-level presentations, as in the massive consulting firm. We go over the theory of how McKinsey makes amazing presentations for their clients and how you can use ChatGPT 4.0 to make them for yourself. So, I'll see you there.